gamers? Welcome back. It's your boy Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Finally been posting more consistently again. God damn it. I've been in the editing dungeon for days. But today, we're going to be jumping in to the Prydwen 2.4 tier list because, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of things that need to be shaken up with the tier list. But let's see what Prydwen has to say about the current state of Zenless Zone Zero. Let's jump right into it. You guys know how I love to start these videos off. First impressions. I love me some first impressions. Now, first impressions right off the dome. One of the big characters that I was looking forward to would be Miyabi. She still is being watched right now at tier 0. Jshoea is still up here. Orphe and Vivian stick to the top. We have Jshoea Dialyn at tier 0, which makes complete sense. We'll talk about her in a little bit. Lucia and Jshoea to round out the three-headed monster that is the support core. Jufufu moves down expeditiously. As fast as she moved up to tier 0, she moves as fast back down thanks to Dialyn. Lighter is still here, as well as Nicole, Sokaku, and Trigger. Most people kind of stay pat. Hugo, Juyen, Jane Doe, Monotone, Piper still here. Most, if not all, of the tier 0.5 stayed the same. Only one or two characters moved down. Lycon, Panyinhu, Pokra, and Chingy stick in the tier 1, and Ellen Jo Haramasa at 1.5. Caesar, Lucy, Rena here as well. Soldier, Kaleda, and then the rest of the cast. Now, let's start at the top. There's no question Jshoea is just one of the best performers in Deadly Assault in Jshoea defense. She is just one of the best performers. Her very versatile and oppressive kit allows her to be such, and because not only is she Ether, which is a strong element in itself, but she is Rupture, and it doesn't even have, she didn't even have to be Aura Gig. She could just be Ether and she'd still be baller. But the fact that she's a sheer force character, allowing her to play to the miasma, allowing her to, you know, still do incredible damage with 100% defense down. Like, it's just a no-brainer that these Rupture characters are doing well in this day and age. Hey folks, it's Post Josh here to tell you about the sponsor of this video, LD Shop. Now, LD Shop has been gracious enough to provide us with some fun perks while we top up to 35% off of our favorite games. Almost any mobile game you play can be found here with bundles for bundles. Wait, that's kind of genius. And off of your first purchase, LD Shop wants to make you a customer for your gacha stay. So they're giving you a top up starting at 22%. All you need to do is take your ID, region, and enter your payment method, which they have it all, and boom. Yeah, you can't miss out on even more savings because I have an additional 15% off code if you use the link below with an extra 5% coupon for later. Take a look at the internet passes. They are $3.60 versus your regular $5. That money adds up, folks. Well, make sure to drop by LD Shop by clicking the link in the description for exclusive perks and discounts. And thank you to LD Shop for sponsoring this video. Miyabi, and I think the only reason Miyabi is here is because outside of Deadly Assault, she's still one of the best, if not the best or second best DPS units in the game. And again, this is considering Deadly Assault rotations because Jshoea defense, Miyabi still slaps. She's still a top tier pick, and there's very, very little in Jshoea that actually like is anti-Miyabi, if you guys notice. So Miyabi, and again, all things considered, because this tier list is very, you know, end game encompassing both Jshoea and Deadly Assault, it still makes sense that Miyabi is a tier 0. Watch list. Yes, I understand because Deadly Assault is, you know, really trying to push her down. However, I think that you guys will very, very soon see the ice characters moving up and down potentially, and then Miyabi maybe removing that watch tag very, very soon. But even within the context of the new boss, the Thrall, bro, you know, and we'll talk about the Thrall as its own enemy in its own segment in this video. When it comes to Miyabi, I feel so bad. Like, generally at this point, like, the devs are just like, they really just are like anti-Miyabi, because like they could honestly make content that's like encompassing of both. They really could, but they just don't. It's just so copium, you know, as a player, as a longtime veteran of gacha games. It just anyways. Next, go to the sub-DPS category. Orphe, Magus, Vivian. This is the attacker sub-DPS. This is the anomaly sub-DPS. These two are very, very, very strong in their respective roles. No question. And let's be honest, the three-headed support core, Jshoea for generalist, Lucia specifically for Rupture. She's a niche Rupture support, and then Jshoea for a slight generalist, but then also is a little bit more tailored towards Anomaly. All three of these are amazing valued characters. Definitely some of the most used within your team comps outside of, you know, double stunners, which funny enough comes in one of the best stunners in the game, chat, Dialyn. Now, let me ask you guys, chat, how do you guys feel about Dialyn? Because there's one thing to be like, oh yeah, she's the best, but how do you guys feel about her genuinely? Because there's something about like the numbers, sure, but like, how's the feel? The feel for me has always been really, really nice. Granted, there's one or two teams that don't really like the feel. Monato team felt really good. Evelyn team was an adjustment. The Evelyn team was an adjustment. I'll be straight up honest. I'm not the best player. I'm definitely not like the most cracked out, you know, combat guy. So when it comes to my actual performances with these characters, they're actually pretty tame as far as like an advanced level player. Yet Dialyn, she is an adjustment because of how crazy and polarizing that chain to ult conversion mechanic / gimmick, how crazy it is. And the economy, if you guys, hopefully this video will come out after my guide video, but the economy of said ability is insane. You get 3,000 decibels worth of an attack. Think about that, chat, right? You get extra damage multipliers because it's turning from a chain to an ult. Most, if not all characters have their ults like sizably larger in percentages than their chains, so that's just an overall DPS increase. And most characters don't even need to use their chains, maybe with the exception of like the Evelyns of the world and such. Very, very, very few characters need their chain. Dialyn being able to supplement for those characters, it just makes her a tier 0. Just as strong, if not slightly stronger of a stunner because of that crit to impact conversion. And something that's super slept on is her sub DPS. She can buff herself with her additional core passive, and not only that, she can utilize the buffs of other characters like Jshoea to give her a little bit extra kick. So like you can invest in the crit damage with her, and then you can allow Jshoea to funnel attack into her and just make her insanely strong, even at the budget level. Yeah, she is a lot of work to, you know, realize that potential, right? Because you got to balance crit rate, energy regen if you're running budget options, and then you got to manage that offensive contribution. But the ceiling for Dialyn is way too high to ignore. She is by far a tier 0 unit, no less, at least as of the current state of the game. We'll talk about her change logs actually right now. All right, here we go. Dialyn. Dialyn is the new strongest stunner, taking the top spot in a very large number of teams that desire one. On top of being so flexible and wanted everywhere, Dialyn is also easy to play. These things combined to easily satisfy the requirements for her being tier 0. There it is. Easy. Dialyn, are you dialed the in? There you go. Then let's kind of go down the list here. We got Alice. We got what the is. We got Ambi number 2 or number 3, however you want to see it. We have Evie, we have Seed, we got Flora, we got Yanagi, and we got the Rari. Hello, Proxies. Welcome to day 1 of Gachamus. What is Gachamus, you may ask? Well, it's our new annual tradition of making 12 videos before Christmas for the 12 days of Christmas. But all you need to know is that if this video has this little clip in it, this means you can like the video right now and you can gift 5 cents to our charity of choice. This year's being UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund, and specifically their holiday campaign to help bring resources that kids need during some of the coldest times of the year. And make sure to join our streams over at twitch.tv/Jshoea, as weekly we will be hosting charity collab events that you and others can participate in to help donate to this great cause. That's all, folks, and on with the video. In tier 0.5. And now these units, again, are very, very strong, yet also notice that they are very strong within the context of the current deadly assaults of the current stages. Evelyn, a little bit less so. Arguable that you could say Evelyn drops down to tier 1, but again, paired with the Jshoea, paired with now Dialyn, paired with the lighters, it will still do you very well. Of course, I'm not saying that she's bad by any means, but again, you could see the characters like Ambi, you see the characters like Alice, you see the characters like Hari are just a little bit more tailored towards what is being offered right now. So that's why I would say Evelyn might consider dropping down a little bit, but again, that's arguing whether she's good or great. So then Yanagi as a secondary DPS, honestly, there has hasn't really been a need for Yanagi in the sub DPS role. Even here, low-key Yanagi would drop down because there just hasn't really been that much an electric anomaly content to really warrant her to stay in 0.5. That kind of goes to the same argument as Eve, but again, that doesn't mean she isn't still strong. There's no other character that really pushes her down, so I guess there's no real pressure to like force her down to the lower levels, right? Unlike Dialyn and Jufufu, right? Jufufu was like, oh my gosh, you know, she is the premier pick with Yishen. Turns out that Dialyn actually is going to be better for Yishen. But ironically, there's a new character on the block coming in 2.5 where some calcs are being done that Jufufu actually turns out to be the better pick for. I don't know if it's true, and again, this is all beta content, so we're gonna have to work that out. But as so far as preliminary calcs and what I've seen and heard throughout the grapevine, it turns out that Jufufu actually turns out to be the better character for them versus Dialyn. Seed over the stunner. Okay, to be fair, Seed might still be a good pairing, but I think they've changed the kit just a little bit. Bernice not moving. Bernice isn't moving because she provides off-field anomaly for disorder. That in itself is value. Hopefully that makes sense. There's value in the actual contribution in itself. Lighter being at 0.5 makes sense. Again, they've adjusted it to be with Wenjin. Even without Wenjin, Lighter is a really great budget character. We have Nicole, Sokaku, and Trigger here. I'm very happy that they added the expert tag on Nicole. I'm very, very happy. She has a high ceiling for sure. You would think, oh, you press E, you press Q. Josh, how hard could it be? But the actual applications of her to use her properly is so tough. Like, I use her pretty well, but I've seen some insane Nicole players. Insane Nicole players. And again, to understand how to maintain her energy for those quick swappy type of comps, making sure that you know when exactly to apply her debuffs is how you're going to succeed with Nicole and why she's in the 0.5 tier. And then again, Sokaku partnered with Miyabi for mono ice. Low-key, I wish we would move or we would add Sokaku just like how Yanagi is in both primary and secondary. Sokaku deserves to be in primary DPS. She deserves to be in a tier 2 primary DPS, but she deserves to be here in a primary DPS capacity. Well, you know, even though she's a lower tier. Yes, Sokaku can be a DPS, even though she's not the strongest, but because of just her straight up buffs that allow her all those extra stat bonuses, she can clear some content. And I think moving forward into some future ice content, I think we could see Sokaku being quite effective as an alternative for a lot of people who don't have ice, is the only reason I want to point that out. Again, Sokaku much better used as an anomaly, again, to the flow of what we've kind of built and constructed around Sokaku. But again, Sokaku is just that flexible because of that attack buff. Hugo at M0 is tier 1, but Hugo M2 moves up to tier 0. That shit is busted. With Dialyn, you get 3 totalizes. I don't know why that wouldn't be busted. M2 Hugo would move up drastically. Jane Doe being here at M0 makes sense. M6 Monato, this also makes sense. Arguably, for certain content he's 0.5, but overall tier 1, that's respectable. Piper here as well, again, just physical anomaly. That's just all you need. It's a tale as old as time, physical anomaly, and if Miasmic Fiend keeps showing up, Alice, Jane Doe, and Piper have a job. Juyen being tier 1 is still respectable. She does get a sizable DPS increase with Dialyn, which is nice. So one of my favorite comps that I've been discovering recently is the Juyen or Astriao and Dialyn comp. Try it out. It's very fun. And if you can manage your stacks properly, then you should be good. Is it tier 0? No. But Juyen with Dialyn and Astriao definitely can perform very well. Miasmic Priest, a lot of people were using her before the turn of the Deadly Assault, so very strong. Lycon, tier 1, makes sense. Panyin Hu, tier 1, as, you know, the budget option to Lucia, makes sense. Pulchra, M6, again, that damage bonus, those you know, aftershocks, as well as a very, very strong ult, hard to ignore. Tier 1, Qingyi, still providing 250 damage multiply at tops. You'll take it. You'll take it, right? Ellen Jo, I want to move her up to tier 1. I want to move Ellen Jo up to tier 1. She's been performing very, very well in regards to a lot of the newer content. Thrall, she's one of the easiest units to use for Thrall, you know, and most, you know, beginners or like older vet people picking back up the game again, you're just going to use Ellen Joan, you're going to clear content. And with the slightly reworked kit, she flows a little bit better. She's able to parry. There's a lot of stuff going for Ellen Jo that I think she deserves tier 1, in my honest opinion, as well as considering, again, more ice-oriented content coming up, just like the Marionettes. Thrall's here, you know, we're gonna get a few more ice pieces of content that Ellen Jo will succeed in. I think she deserves tier 1. Then we go to the rest of the units like Haramasa, you know, he's act for tier 1.5 is perfectly fine for him. Caesar here is fine. Lucy, yeah, these units do not move an inch. They don't move an inch. So we're not going to talk about them. And the last thing we got to mention is Thrall. Some people call me the biggest Zenless shill, the biggest Hoya shill, but that sucks. And I'm gonna call it as it is. That shit sucks booty cheeks. All right, no anomaly. Like what? We don't want the same kind of boss mechanic like 2 out of our 3 miasma bosses in a row. The boss fight experience is kind of cool. I'll be the first, you know, if I'm not the first one to say it, because I'm not the first one to say it, because you know, everybody's already been on Deadly Assaults. I'm playing catch up here. Understand that you guys will have to be very meticulous about how you time your attacks, right? Where the windows are, you got to play to the stage. This is another one of those things where you have to play to the stage because it will not give you that much wiggle room. It's not one of those like, oh, there's gimmicks to evade it, at least as so far as we haven't figured out yet. You got to be very meticulous. Learn the stage. Do I like his design? Do I like, you know, his animations or something? Maybe. Again, I understand a lot of people's frustrations with it. But if you guys have any questions on Thrall, I might be making a Deadly Assault guide or just a Thrall guide in the near future. So take a look out for that. Other than that, that's the 2.4 Prydwen tier list. Let me know who you guys are looking forward to, and let me know if you guys expected any different changes from the tier list in the comments down below. Also, this video might be a part of Gachamus. Go check out our announcement video, probably on YouTube, about Gachamus. All right? Bang.